In today's episode of Big Data, Big Questions, will AI replace developers? Should developers worry about their job? I started off as a developer. I don't know. Let's tackle that right in there. Hi folks, Thomas Henson here. Before I jump in, two things. Started to use the GoPro for the intros. Let me know what you think about that, how the quality is. Second, I'm pretty excited. I've ventured into my past a little bit here lately. A lot of time, right, since I'm not traveling. And I found some of my old cards. So went through, got a couple of my Michael Jordans. Then I found this Charles Barkley. I'm a fan of Charles Barkley because I'm an Auburn fan. But in today's question, we are talking about, user question came in. Make sure you put it in the comment section if you want me to answer it here. But will AI replace developers? Should developers be worried about it? Really, my thought around this, I actually go to something here. My favorite author, Kai-Fu Lee. And recently, well, I guess it wasn't recently, about a year ago, he was on 60 Minutes. And he stated that, hey, around 40% of jobs that are out there are going to be replaceable in the next 15 years. So are developers part of that? That's what we want to explore today. I've got some really strong opinions about that. And really, these opinions go across the board. Because I get this question, especially when I travel a good bit, but even in places like a doctor's office. So I don't know who goes to the doctor and starts talking about artificial intelligence. I'll raise my hand and say that that was me. And one of the questions the doctor was talking to me about is his wife is a radiologist as well. And we were talking about artificial intelligence. And he was like, well, is that going to replace what she does? And, my thought around that, I've talked about it before in AI for healthcare and where we are. But, augmentation from that perspective, I think we're kind of going down that same route for developers. There are some key roles that I would maybe steer away from, but I think you already are. Keying off of augmentation, not replacement. So just as I spoke about for radiologists, I believe that the same thing can be said for developers. I don't think that there's going to be a wholesale replacement where all developers are going to be replaced. I think that mundane tasks are going to be replaced, but they've been doing that for years. And I know this is an opportunity for me to say, most people won't develop in C++ because we're going to go to higher level languages, and I think we're kind of already doing that, but I do not want to get angry comments from the C++ community. I think I just made it happen. But no, as you look at what frameworks are, you've heard of concepts, about abstracting away or that we are standing on the shoulders of giants, right? So even look at something as simple as a framework. Frameworks are used to make it so you can code faster. I believe that artificial intelligence, while it may not code for us, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to develop. I mean, look at what we've done worldwide in the last 15 years. There are more developers. Every 2 years, I think is the stat. I'm maybe making this one up, but there are more developers, and most of those are new developers, right? Because one, as a world, we need more folks, and we've also have some really great and amazing tools that make it so that a developer can be a beginner and start to make amazing applications or products and be useful whenever they go into their role. So just like we were talking about with new developers and needing to be able to have that kind of automation, that's going to be where AI is going to be replacing some of those things, right? So think about it if you're a web developer. I started my career as a web developer. Even then, there was a lot of HTML I didn't write. When's the last time somebody really wrote HTML, right? Like even go all the way back to, I know some people hate tools as like Dreamweaver, but I don't even know if they make Dreamweaver anymore, but tools like that. So if you think of that as artificial intelligence, and that's abstracting away, it's like you can plug and place and do certain things. Now, there are times when you need to get in there and you still need to do that code. And I think that's where we would see some of those skills lacking with artificial intelligence. Also, what about debugging? Think about, I remember the story from my father telling me about how he used to do punch codes. Or I had a professor that used to do a whole lot of punch codes. And so they'd write their application in the library, and they were saying that they would take a marker and they'd go straight across. So not straight across, but diagonal on the punch code or punch cards. So in case they fell down, they could put them all back in order for their to go and compile. And think about it. So you go submit that. It takes a long time to get your application back. So how do you debug it? Versus, I know when I was using Visual Studio and first starting out, it was just amazing talking to talking to my dad about how, yeah, no, I make my changes and I press the debugger and it pretty much just pulls up my web application and starts debugging. I can kind of go through it there. Boom. I mean, you think about that, right? That's automation. So testing, I think quality assurance, I think ETL, I think those are areas where we will see a vast improvement for artificial intelligence. I don't think we will see a replacement, but I think the tools will get better. So anything that you do that's routine or mundane, those are the types of applications, just like radiologists, factory workers, anybody like that are getting automated. So if it can be automated and takes less creativity from that perspective, then yeah, there's definitely going to be a replacement for those. But hopefully, if you're watching this channel, you're trying to grow your skills, just as I'm trying to grow my skills, you are quickly, gathering new skills and doing, higher level work from that perspective. So, you are, I don't know, making yourself more valuable and less likely and less prone to be replaced, right? Like you're not focusing just on those routine tasks, right? You're trying to develop in a way that, you can make use of code and, just as what we do for framework. So long story around it, and that's kind of my thought process around where we're going. I still think we're in the age of augmentation, and so for a developer, if you're looking on the horizon for the next 15 to 20 years, I think it's safe to say you're going to be good to go. I don't think you're going to be replaced by AI, and actually, you're going to have better tool set. If it wasn't good enough to hear me tell developers, hey, you're not going to be replaced by AI in the next 10 to 15 years, how about we find another stat that I found right here from Oak Ridge Laboratories, and they predict that by 2040, machine learning, deep learning will allow for artificial intelligence to write better code than humans. So we've got some time. Those predictions could be further out, right? You look at Back to the Future, we still don't have our flying cars, but that's just a good gauge to know. And I think we're not always great with predictions, right? Sometimes we miss them, but I think on this one, I think it'll be some time before developers are replaced. So continue to learn, continue to do the things that you would do in your career, whether you're worried about artificial intelligence replacing you, and try to do more complicated tasks that use your creativity and that you can continue to learn and iterate. So my thoughts, you are safe, go learn, have fun, and keep tuning in to Big Data Big Questions. If you have a question that you'd like for me to talk about, or if you have maybe somebody you'd like me to interview, put it in the comment section here below. I'll do my best to get that answer or get that person on the show, and keep learning. Here's a couple more of the cards that I kind of going through. So found another Jordan here. I was really a huge fan, baseball, of Ken Griffey Jr. So I've got quite a few Ken Griffey Jr.'s, which I was looking up, this one's pretty interesting. There's some differences in each, or I guess anomalies, where some of these cards can be worth more. So pretty cool. Once again, Auburn fan, Bo Jackson. And then when I was a really small kid, I used to play for the Braves, little league team. And Dale Murphy was one of my favorite players. So I was number 3, and I got to bat cleanup like he did. So I don't know. I may show more of these, but I was pretty excited. Interesting to see that my past was able to, the cards were able to make it through. And now as I get older, it's something I can kind of go and look at and hopefully, hand down to my kids and grandkids and great grandchildren.